Module 1, Threats, Attacks, and Vulnerabilities, Set-3. Online versus offline. In computer technology and telecommunications, online indicates a state of connectivity, and offline indicates a disconnected state. The term offline is sometimes used interchangeably with the acronym IRL, meaning in real life. Online. A wiki is a website that allows users to add and update content on the site using their own web browser. This is made possible by wiki software that runs on the web server. Wikis end up being created mainly by a collaborative effort of the site visitors. Offline. In computer technology and telecommunications, online indicates a state of connectivity, and offline indicates a disconnected state. The term offline is sometimes used interchangeably with the acronym IRL, meaning in real life. Collision. In a half-duplex Ethernet network, a collision is the result of two devices on the same Ethernet network attempting to transmit data at exactly the same time. The network detects the collision of the two transmitted packets and discards them both. Collisions are a natural occurrence on Ethernets. Downgrade. In computing, downgrading refers to reverting software, or hardware, back to an older version. Downgrade is the opposite of upgrade. Often, complex programs may need to be downgraded to remove unused or bugged features, and to increase speed and/or ease of use. Replay. A game replay is a form of user-generated content. In most instances, a game replay is a recording of a battle between opponents in a video game which can then be viewed by other players. Script kiddies. In programming and hacking cultures, a script kiddie, skid, or skid is an unskilled individual who uses scripts or programs, such as a web shell, developed by others to attack computer systems and networks and deface websites. Hacktivist. Hacktivism is the act of misusing a computer system or network for a socially or politically motivated reason. The majority of hacktivists work anonymously. A hacktivist uses the same tools and techniques as a hacker, but does so in order to disrupt services and bring attention to a political or social cause. Organized crime. It has been defined as activities by a nation-state to penetrate another nation's computers or networks with the intention of causing civil damage or disruption. Nation-state/APT. An advanced persistent threat, APT, is a stealthy threat actor, typically a nation-state or state-sponsored group, which gains unauthorized access to a computer network and remains undetected for an extended period. Such threat actors' motivations are typically political or economic. Insiders. An insider is an individual who is employed by an agency and has access to facilities, sensitive information, organizational data, information systems, and other equipment. Insiders are often familiar with the organization's data and intellectual property as well as the methods that are in place to protect them. Use of open source intelligence, OSINT. Open source intelligence, OSINT, is a multi-methods, qualitative, quantitative, methodology for collecting, analyzing, and making decisions about data accessible in publicly available sources to be used in an intelligence context. OSINT under one name or another has been around for hundreds of years. Active reconnaissance. Active reconnaissance is a type of computer attack in which an intruder engages with the targeted system to gather information about vulnerabilities. After a port scan, an attacker usually exploits known vulnerabilities of services associated with open ports that were detected. Passive reconnaissance. Passive reconnaissance is an attempt to gain information about targeted computers and networks without actively engaging with the systems. In active reconnaissance, in contrast, the attacker engages with the target system, typically conducting a port scan to find any open ports. Persistence. In computer science, persistence refers to the characteristic of state of a system that outlives, persists more than, the process that created it. This is achieved in practice by storing the state as data in computer data storage. Escalation of privilege. Privilege escalation is the act of exploiting a bug, design flaw, or configuration oversight in an operating system or software application to gain elevated access to resources that are normally protected from an application or user. Black box. In science, computing, and engineering, a black box is a device, system, or object which can be viewed in terms of its inputs and outputs, or transfer characteristics, without any knowledge of its internal workings. Gray box. In mathematics, statistics, and computational modeling, a gray box model combines a partial theoretical structure with data to complete the model. Thus, almost all models are gray box models as opposed to black box where no model form is assumed, or white box models that are purely theoretical. Identify vulnerability. NSA defines vulnerability in as the existence of a weakness, design, or implementation error that can lead to an unexpected, undesirable event. G11 compromising the security of the computer system, network, application, or protocol involved. False positive. For example, if the condition is a disease, true positive means correctly diagnosed as diseased, false positive means incorrectly diagnosed as diseased, true negative means correctly diagnosed as not diseased, and false negative means incorrectly diagnosed as not diseased. Race conditions. A race condition or race hazard is the condition of an electronics, software, or other system where the system's substantive behavior is dependent on the sequence or timing of other uncontrollable events. Race conditions can occur especially in logic circuits, multi-threaded, or distributed software programs. Vulnerabilities due to. In computer security, a vulnerability is a weakness which can be exploited by a threat actor, such as an attacker, to cross privilege boundaries, i.e. perform unauthorized actions, within a computer system. Then there are vulnerabilities without risk, for example when the affected asset has no value. Embedded systems. An embedded system is a computer that has been built to solve only a few very specific problems and is not easily changed. The word embedded means it is built into the system. It is a permanent part in a bigger system. It usually does not look like a computer, often no keyboard or monitor or mouse. Improper input handling. Improper input handling is the term used to describe functions such as validation, sanitization, filtering, or encoding and or decoding of input data. All inputs should be considered untrusted as they can come from various mechanisms and be transferred in multiple formats. Resource exhaustion. Resource exhaustion attacks are computer security exploits that crash, hang, or otherwise interfere with the targeted program or system. Memory leak. In computer science, a memory leak is a type of resource leak that occurs when a computer program incorrectly manages memory allocations in a way that memory which is no longer needed is not released. A memory leak may also happen when an object is stored in memory but cannot be accessed by the running code. Integer overflow. Integer overflow, a condition that occurs when an integer calculation produces a result that is greater than what a given register can store or represent. Buffer overflow, a situation whereby the incoming data size exceeds that which can be accommodated by a buffer. Buffer overflow. In information security and programming, a buffer overflow, or buffer overrun, is an anomaly where a program, while writing data to a buffer, overruns the buffer's boundary and overwrites adjacent memory locations. Pointer dereference. A pointer references a location in memory, and obtaining the value stored at that location is known as dereferencing the pointer. Pointers are also used to hold the addresses of entry points for called subroutines in procedural programming and for runtime linking to dynamic link libraries, DLLs. DLL injection. In computer programming, DLL injection is a technique used for running code within the address space of another process by forcing it to load a dynamic link library. New threat /0-day. A zero-day virus, also known as zero-day malware or next-generation malware, is a previously unknown computer virus or other malware for which specific antivirus software signatures are not yet available.